Rival up against Obey, Game 3 of our EU Finals here at Super Regionals, and right out the gate, Rival do not want to have to deal with RDO.
I think that Rival should honestly start playing RDO first pick potentially, but maybe they're a little bit too worried about the Nemesis or the Circuit from Captain Twig, so going to take that option off the table, and look how fast these bans are going.
That's the reason why we don't see Rival trying to play for the RDO, because if they can get Fafnir, they're going to take it every single time. First pick. And now with that being eliminated and with that aggressive route being back open for Rival, I'd imagine that they could again threaten Obey with that possible double hunter composition.
And Rival, as you stated there, Tully, the first couple of bans went really quick, and Rival snap took that Fafnir pick, likely for Collis, who likes to play that one. So now Obey, in response to that, taking a little bit more time to think about what they want to do with these first two picks, already took Odin and Osiris off the table.
So these are the same exact bans for the same teams, except that since Rival lost, they are the first pick selection. They're the ones with the Fafnir this time around instead of Obey Alliance, and it's almost a reversed effect here. Ho Yi is prioritized by Obey Alliance, whereas in this position for Rival, they wanted to go for the Musin Cobb and pay the price.
And Obey, for all three of these games so far now, they have been taking this Hu Yi in their top 3 picks, showing just how much they favor having this hunter on their side.
And then they also pick up the Kakalin here. I believe Zalia has been playing Kabrakan through these first 2 games, so not necessarily Kakalin will go to him, though it's something we know Zalia can play.
Still a flex pick, considering Captain Twig could elect to go for that as well. A Blink Kakalin from the jungle is one of the most terrifying things for a hunter, especially one without an escape.
And again, it just feels as though Obey is really trying to control the space around these objective team fights. And with the Fafnir, you're always going to pose that threat of maybe we're just going to burn this down, having that coerce on our side. But Obey now with those Suns and with the Kakolin's transformation, it's very easy to pose a contest.
So something that Obey Alliance liked to do was pick the Zeus after the secondary ban phase in conjunction with the Fafnir. Isis, though, is the mid option for Wolfie. Erlong Shen will be locked in for Deathwalker more than likely. Probably going to be looking to ban away the Zeus if Obey don't pick their mid here.
Rival, once again, going back to the Isis pick that they enjoyed so much in that first game. The Erlong Shen provide a little bit of sustain to go along with that. One more pick for them, and now throwing it back over to Obey to make their final pick, at least of this first pick ban phase, before they move into the second round of bans.
So Obey Alliance, they need to either pick a Zeus here for sure, or the Sylvanas.
And the thing is, I agree with you entirely, totally. They need to find either their support or their mid laner here, because whichever of the two that they don't select, I don't see the ideal picks surviving the next round of the bans, because Rival having their core composition already composed just leaves them so much flexibility as far as what they want to take for jungle and ADC.
That's what's going to be for Obey. What do they want to prioritize here? That mid, maybe we'll turn a little bit towards Pretty Prime or go forward to support. Because as you said, Rival are going to be happy to start snatching that away from them in this next pick ban phase, especially because they already have Fafnir. And instead, they go for the Circuit here, Tully.
That makes sense, considering that Circuit's ultimate gives you 100% healing reduction. So it doesn't even matter if you're hiding under that Isis ultimate. You're not going to receive that healing, but you will receive some of that damage reduction.
And that's exactly where I was about to go, is that Circuit. Great pick against the Erlang and the Isis, because whichever one of those two that Twig decides to target, he's probably going to be able to assist his team in finding the follow-up damage afterwards for the kill. But if he doesn't get the kill, if he tries to commit onto either of those two targets, there is just so much turnaround potential from Rival.
And it's going to be tricky for Twig to get into that backline against an Isis who has 2 forms of CC control between the silence, between the stun. It's not the easiest thing in the world. Kabrakan for Obey Alliance this time around banned away, despite themselves having the next pick.
That's right, it's mostly been them that have been playing it, but now they choose to take it away. Worried about some of the tankiness on this Rival composition. In response, though, Rival go ahead and take away that Zeus pick, Taco.
I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe a Vulcan ban from Rival as well. Fight circles with circles, because if there's one thing that you want to do for an Isis ultimate, it's stand right on top of it and Vulcan Ultimate pretty much covers the exact same AoE.
Despite not seeing a Vulcan this entire Super Regional, if there's any team, any player to bring it out, it would be Pretty Prime. That Titan skin from Season 1 Worlds going into him and his boys out of Titan, himself with Ataraxia back then losing to Cogred.
Obey respecting rather that Athena pick after his play. They ban it away, and then Rival banning away the Sylvanas pick from Obey, and Toli's unhappy.
No, I was just talking about, I was in my own head. I thought it was Cogred. It was actually Cog Prime that they lost to in Titan. But yes, Sylvanas is indeed the ban. The circles of Ho Yi, Zeus, and Sylvanas is just such an easy combination to control around the jungle, and that's exactly why Rival don't want Obey.
But of course, Obey, they did have that next pick selection being second pick side, and it's going to be the Giannis instead.
Wow.
Both of these teams have been unsuccessful so far in their matches that they risked with this mid lane, but now this is a pretty different draft that we're seeing out of Obey on the Giannis. A lot of chase down potential, really.
Serket is going to be wanting to dive that back line. If you threw space and time into the team fights, Captain Twig is going to have that semi-global pressure. It's not the same idea with a Ratatasker, but with the assistance of your mid laner, he should be able to get it in and out of the action.
And despite, as you said, Taco, this Giannis not being particularly successful so far, Pretty Prime in a big game 3 feels comfortable. They selected for Obey, still perhaps waiting on their support pick for last as they throw it over to Rival, who still have a couple picks to make for themselves. They don't have a Hunter yet here either, so they've got to try and prioritize something like that.
There's still the Hachiman availability as well as the Rom selection, and right as I'm saying it, he's picking it. Rival really wanting to lock down this bit of a mid to late game Hunter for Vote. Vote usually has some pretty stand-up performances on this ROM as well, and if there's one guy I'd want to see with it, it's probably him.
Securing the late game damage in conjunction with the Fafnir's Coerce. Thor, we haven't seen that very often thus far in Super Regionals. A staple pick with Isis. Back in Season 1 and 2 when, you know, Red Pod, Purple Pod was a thing, you would look for these level 1 and 2 plays, trying to control the lane, maybe look for an early first blood, and then some hot invades after.
And it feels like not too far different. I mean, still kind of a setup god for Ice Ice Baby there in the jungle, so maybe not too hard of a transition as Obey for their last one.
Didn't get a chance to say it. It was the Ganesh. As soon as that Thor selection came through, all I could immediately think of was Ganesh. Those silences just so perfect when a Thor is trying to launch off their combination of attacks, and that's going to prevent a lot of setup possibilities from Rival.
The is just going to interrupt all sort of channeling abilities. Thor specifically, Isis Wing Gust in conjunction, so Rival need to separate themselves against Obey.
Well, we got those full rosters here, so as usual, I got to ask, how are y'all feeling about these picks? Who you got?
I got Rival, honestly, personally, because Thor Isis does a lot of damage from a distance. Even if you do silence out their channeled abilities, Spirit Ball and Hammer does a lot.
I'm really liking Rival's draft in this game. I'd probably have to hand it to them.
Well, it's a double Rival vote here on the desk. Let's get over to the casters to see if Rival can follow through.
Thanks a lot, John Finch. Tom Ballinger joined here by Graham Hatfield. How you doing?
I can't deal with that.
Oh, okay,
I'm
fine.
sorry. I couldn't keep it. I'm sorry. That was just awkward.
What do you mean?
No.
Look, I was ready to go.
Listen,
you're just not used to having Ryan
I'm
just
not used to having
looming.
him behind my shoulder like that.
Well, either way, Tom Ballinger, Ryan, and Graham joined here as we get ready for game number 3. 1 and 2 went to 2 separate teams. Game 3, well, somebody else got to win.
I think whoever wins this wins the set. Like, this is 3-1. Either way, I think this will be the camel's back getting broke of one of these two teams. Not sure which one, but I think that's going to be the case.
I could certainly see it happening that way, and both teams have potential to try and get this game rolling in their favor early on. I mean, Isis Thor is one of the classic mid-jungle comps when you want pressure, when you want CC, when you want early game damage. But this Serket pick for Captain Twig is going to be the difference maker in my mind. If Twig can get off to a good start and get that Isis behind early on, get that Thor behind early on, there's plenty of stuff to interrupt what Ice Ice Baby wants to do on the Thor when you're looking at the Serket Madness, the Ganesh Silence, the portals from Pretty Prime, the stun from Ataraxia. Ice is going to have to be careful about where he's using those abilities, not just the Berserker's Barrage, but even trying to teleport away with the Mjolnir's Attunement. You get stunned out, silenced out, whatever it may be, you're going to put yourself in a bad spot.
I'm actually really concerned about Team Rival here because Team Rival started last year as a Cyclone GG. Go ahead.
Saket, just look at where Saket is right now. I'm just a little bit wary of what Twig was doing. I thought he might have ganked mid lane with that pressure they had there. Sorry to cut you up, but I was like, hang on a sec, what's going on? Instead, it's going to be a speed buffing bird. I kind of like this choice.
So my point was, as Collis tries to invade by himself and walks away, is that Team Rival have been a team for a long time, and it took them basically, reason why they're so successful, skipping a whole bunch of chapters, is the fact that they stopped playing everybody else's game and started playing their own game. The problem was everybody else's game was jungle Thor. Ice Baby never was successful on this pick. Now, it's been a long time since then. Has he gotten it back?
I think so. I think that I can remember at least 1 or 2 games where he had a decent performance as Prime loses the purification beads in mid. Love that Wolfie and Vote immediately ignore Prime to say thanks for the beads and head right for the wave. And at the same, as much as I'm worried about what Ice Baby is going to be able to do with the Thor and if he can get his abilities off, the same concern is there for Captain Twig up against a Thor who has the wall, Kalas with the hammer, Wolfie with the... Getting silence out of ambush as Serket is like the worst feeling because then you lose that cooldown and you're just kind of toast.
I'm actually excited as well about seeing the Wolfie Ice Baby show in terms of Thorisis. It's been a while since we've seen the pairing together, but that was an old tried and true and tested composition that we used to see jungles and mids run all day together, and it would never be given to a team because it just had so much benefits of synergizing well.
Specifically around the objectives, right? You drop down Wolfie's ultimate and then Ice Baby goes to the sky and nobody's allowed in whatsoever. You're either going to get stomped on by a Thor or popped from beneath by the ultimate from the Isis.
And then also on ganks, it's the CC chain that comes through with the silences and the walls.
CC chain in the poke potential from these two gods is absolutely nuts. I mean, normally it's Thor double tap, wall into the hammer throw, but now you're talking wall, hammer throw, plus Spirit Ball, plus at least 1 shot of Wind Gust, and you might just have to go back to base just from that little combination, and that's if you have purification beads. If you don't, a lot of times you're just dead.
Yeah, troublesome stuff. Trouble for Zelia as well. He'll be able to dash away, and Ice was there with a wall had Zelia not been so quick on the take.
Was a good use of abilities from Zelia, though, to realize I'd just root him and then dash away straight away, just in case there was a rotation coming, which he had an idea about. Now it's going to give Rival a bit of pressure on the right, which means Ice can either look for the back harpies, a proxy farm, or a gank. Well,
I love what Captain Twig's doing. He went and got the back right harpies, because he also was lurking on that right-hand side in case that gank went south.
They know.
For Rival. But now he loops around to the back underneath, but you're right. Wolfie has him caught out.
He's going to get stunned. Also, by the way, take out that back camp. Captain Twig, silence, nice silence, but the jump is going to be followed up Collis, but he can't chase the death bane. But the Rob Snipes, 1 shot. But that's all he'll get.
Out of range, that's maybe. But in the sky is Ice, so now Twig still running away. The double tap miss from Ice Baby, though. And the slow from Prime will help out just a little bit more.
That was my concern, man. It's been a minute since I've seen Ice on the Thor, period. It's also been a bigger minute since I've seen Ice actually be able to execute it.
Was he max range?
The ultimate, yeah, it may have been, but it still hit. The Ice should have just been able to spin and kill Captain Twig there. I just wonder if he had used his spin to clear the back harpies on the right-hand side, if he had gone for an invade, if he had cleared something in the right side jungle that meant the spin was down, because there's no reason to use the riskier option there, which is to go for the hammer toss instead of just spinning down Captain Twig.
That's why I kind of want to give him the benefit of the doubt, because I'm pretty sure Ice realized how close he was. He must have been on cooldown, otherwise
must have been.
Would have been a different story there for sure.
Maybe because if you get interrupted in the spin with the Cobra's Kiss, then you could drop the kill. So if you throw the hammer and he Cobra's Kisses you, then it's still going to track and hit him on the backswing. But if you're really that concerned about that potential, you just pre-beads right before you start to spin, and that's a free kill.
The most interesting thing about that now is whether Twig goes back to doing that again, because that was very, very risky for him to look to do that. But it did pay off because he got a lot of investment and still managed to get away.
Emil's going to pause here right quick. Obey Alliance got to figure something out so far. Dead even. Look at this.
He needed a drink. That's what it was. You see that? I know this is like I took my water after pausing the game.
I think we all need a drink after this series. But right now, Rival trying to make it happen. The Thor. The Thor. I'm gonna go. I need to see him succeed, because right now all I'm thinking is it's not his pick.
But that's also the reason why I'm saying I think this will be the next two. It'll be 2 more games and that's it. Whichever side wins this one, I think will win the next. And I think it could come down to this though.
It certainly could. But that being said, Ice Baby's already off to a decent enough start on the Thor. You got the purification beads out from Twig. Didn't find the first blood, but still had showed the potential to land the ultimate And you look at what Wolfie's doing in the mid lane, he's already finished off that Warlock Sash, so he's off to a great start, was stacking that later game item. His power is going to start to become more and more relevant, and then that enables Ice Ice Baby to continue to play aggressive because he knows that Circle of Protection could be waiting for him.
Did get a few signs out of what Rival's composition can really do on the skirmish battles a little bit more there as well. Obviously, it was Twig getting caught at the back. It was Ice Ice, you know, engaging that, but then we had the Rama snipes, which shows he can influence from one side of the map, and then the Thor follow-up. Talking about Thor follow-up, he's already down and Twig's in trouble.
Nice wall. Deathwalker gets the kill. Number 1 for Team Rival. Azalea still wants to fight. Deathwalker, however, gonna walk away.
Hey, you asked for it and you were a little bit worried about it. Well, there's the first kill of the game going the way Rival because of the Thor.
Hey, he got the beads earlier on by hitting the ult, forcing Twig to use them, and then he punishes him with the big spin.
Okay, I'm with it. I'm with it. I'd much rather. I mean, listen, I'm not sitting here rooting against it.
Yeah, you are.
Know? No, I'm not.
Yeah, you are.
Absolutely not. I'm just saying, you know, from you know, my vantage point, I've seen Ice Ice Baby drop it. In fact, this is one of those times where Graham and I say it all the time as an analyst, when you make comments like that, you want to be wrong, and this might be the moment.
I love the through space and time. Coming out, Deathwalker's still low because of the anti-heal. The shield from the turtle was good, but not good enough as Ice Ice claims another life, and it was the life of Twig and trade for Deathwalker.
And as I mentioned, for me, this Obey composition revolved around how well Captain Twig was going to be able to do. We're 5 minutes in. Rival has 2 kills, and they're both on a Twig.
Whoa! Ooh, the beads. Zalia very quickly able to get out of there. Also nice to know that the Soul Laner has beads.
Yep, beads just to make sure he gets away from the danger. But Zalia's been the proponent of doing that more than any of us solo laner, I'd like to say. Depending on what he's against, he's not scared of using the beads, and he's very preemptive with the beads too.
For me, it was Scary D this lane, the first to buy just the selfish Aegis, you know, in the solo lane to make sure he doesn't get Krakened in that particular matchup.
Yeah.
Now it seems like other solo laners have caught on to the fact that, hey, not getting Xingqian ulted into tower is pretty nice because you're used to just kind of accepting that's part of your matchup. Now, teams are starting to realize that maybe if their solo laner can stay safe, you know, they get through the early game, yeah, those beads aren't as useful in the later game because you're tanky and don't really care if you get CC'd as much. I mean, but in the early stages, it's really valuable.
No Numbers was the only one that's been running the teleport still. I mean, No Numbers went back to it.
Kiki did as well.
It worked out a little bit, yeah, Kiki. But that was mainly because he was playing a bit defense. Most of those lane matches were more of the negative side. No Numbers had 50-50 ones and still picked up the teleport.
And what's cool about that is that it tells me that there really is no right or wrong answer. It's
well,
really,
I mean, everyone says Thorns, right?
Sure. Okay, Thorns is the right answer.
Supposedly.
But it shows me that there's, one, multiple approaches, multiple ways to play the game, which is really when I think, not just Smite, but any game is in its best state when you can have multiple play styles.
And it's about the relic choices as well being variable, you know? Like, it's no certain one is good all the way through. I mean, obviously, beads will always be good throughout. That's just a given factor.
Yeah.
But Aegis comes in and out. Shell comes in and out. Horrific Emblem, useful at times. Curse. Even the Cursed Ankh we've seen now and again on occasion, which hasn't been this time before.
Exactly, and we don't see, we actually saw a Cursed Ankh earlier on in this set, and even though I believe Obey lost that game, the Cursed Ankh did make a difference.
Thor goes up, looking for one. Oh, boom! Right on top of Zalia. Trouble for him as Deathwalker confirms it.
Space and time through from Prime, just a little bit too late to really help out. And Twig now looking at his speed buff being stripped away by Rival.
Silence
was good on Twig, but Twig has to dance away. The speed buff was saved.
Stolen there by Pretty Prime, using that extra power from the Doom Orb that he's gone for to make sure that he can secure it.
Do more with Doom Orb.
That's it? That's all you had for us?
Do more with Doom Orb.
Yeah, it's like his favorite.
I've been saying that since like 2015, dude.
It's pretty good.
Don't think I've ever heard it.
Do more with Doom Orb.
Yeah, but you always say it like that, like you're actually selling me Doom Orb.
Yeah, like you know, it's like an infomercial.
Yo, what if F-Dot was like the guy you buy your Smite items from?
I would not buy my Smite items from him. That's why.
That's my next video series. I'm just gonna
We
create.
just put you as a shop in the base where you actually click on you. You're like, what do you want? And you'd be like, Ho Yi! Every time Ho Yi came out to
Welcome
base.
to the Fountain of Value.
F-Dot's chip vendor stand right in the fountain.
And hot dogs.
Chips and hot dogs.
No, I'll put on the Bomb King voice. I'll be like, hello there, I want to buy some items right now.
Just sounds like you're back home in New York. That's the only difference I felt there.
What in the world is that?
Maron, I can't deal with you.
That copy's being fought by now Wolfie and Thor at the moment, though. 1-0-2 for Ice Ace Baby. 2-level lead still over Captain Twig. That's the real talking point.
And you know what? I again, happily to eat my words so far. Only 9 minutes in, ton more Smite to play, but plays like this, kind of nice to watch Ice Baby, because like I said, not known as a Thor player. I'd like to see him come back.
And he's already working towards some more damage with that mace. Could be going for
Jotuns?
Jotun's Wrath. That's what I would assume. I mean, Jotun's is the feel-good item for junglers, getting that 20% CDR. Yeah. And the Brawler's beat stick here, not particularly relevant against any of Obey's gods. Crusher, I can't imagine being the call either, so Jotun seems to be the most obvious choice to me, and I love to see junglers going back to building a little bit more damage-oriented, not going for Twig, who, you know, is mystical mail.
Ataraxi is baiting. This was a bait because around the corner, guess who was waiting for him? It was Emilzy, but he missed with that charge. That charge connects. More trouble for Callus, and that ult probably would have ended up killing him too, but there was an ult as well from Thor there, I believe. No?
Nope.
Okay, he just teleported to his hammer. My bad. I just saw him quickly move on the screen.
I love the idea there from Emilzy. Doesn't hold that ohm for the entire duration, actually. Cancels it out a little bit early, expecting that Kalas is just kind of accepting that he can't jump until the ohm is over.
Right.
And tries to catch him sleeping, but got to give credit where it's due to Kalas. He's spamming that jump to try and get out of there as soon as he's able to. Was able to jump up and over that charge.
Leap is down on Zalia there. You just saw he got burnt in that lane, but surprised to see Ice Baby wasn't looking for a potential follow-up, knowing that wasn't available. You just mentioned the Crusher as well for Thor potentially, which is something you don't expect. I think you don't really need to worry about when you look at the state of the towers right now that Obey have already had 2 whittled down.
I think Ice doesn't go for that play because he knows the speed buff is coming up, and
he's a jungler.
Yeah. Jungler.
Just add, and he's a jungler.
Rather have speed than a kill.
Well, it's that, and if his speed's coming up, that means that Twig's speed is likely coming up, which means because Twig's a jungler, that's where he's going to be as well, so trying to dive there isn't the best play.
Speaking of which, speed buff has respawned for Captain Twig, but no invade coming out from Rival just yet. Instead, it's just a bit farming off and keeping the pressure on mid from Rival right now, especially with Callus rotating around here on his signature Fafnir.
One of the benefits of Twig going for what has become his, you know, signature tank Circuit build is that it doesn't really matter if he's behind.
Look at that minion. So I just wanted the minions following Callus all the way through the jungle there for a second.
It doesn't really matter if Twig falls behind because he's relying on the percent damage from his passive and the true damage off of his ultimate. He doesn't need to have as many points in his abilities for them to be effective. So, you know, if you're going standard Circuit, you're 2 levels down, that's a really bad look. For tank Circuit, it's not the end of the world.
Emilzy avoids a double tap. Oracles easily go to Obey. Don't know how much they want here. Captain Twig uses the ultimate to interrupt the Zerkers.
He had to because he kind of fully committed there in that engagement, going to the backline, used his dash in and his jump. So when he deathbanes, he's like, well, guess I've got to ult to make sure I don't get focused for a moment. But Rival weren't really feeling that anyway.
Honestly, that ends up being better for Obey that Twig does that because it gets the purification beads away from Ice Baby, who now needs to be worried about that Ganesh silence, the knock-up from the Ganesh, and the Circuit damage in CC and whenever he comes dunking down next.
I guess that's one of the things about Thor as well, that since, you know, we've not seen Thor in a little while in terms of competitive play regularly, Ganesh has been an addition from the support pool that really can shut him down.
It's a really tough matchup because, like I said, it's not just a Berserker's barrage that you really don't want to get interrupted. Getting silenced out of the middle of your hammer teleport so that you can't teleport is pretty much the worst feeling ever.
I mean, for the longest time, I've said, you know, I love Thanatos into Thor because of the silence, strictly because of the silence the ultimate can follow, because the silence. And then Emilzy, you know, with Ganesh coming through, I was just like, you know what, forget about Thanatos. This Ganesh, this is what you pick into a Thor. Obey, just, you know, this is the new textbook.
And remember, it was Rival who picked the Thor after the Ganesh, after the Circuit for Obey Alliance. It was the final pick for Rival, so you know that Ice Baby, you know, he knew what he signed up for.
Sure. With
this Thor selection. He's done a good job so far of staying away from Emilzy, not trying to take fights on the left-hand side because that's where Emilzy's more likely to be.
Vote going to be aggressed on here. Not quite going to find the jump. Not quite going to find the dash. Not quite going to find the ultimate as it ages the way. And Vote not quite going to find the death.
Can we just notice as well that Vote just walked straight?
Yeah.
He just carried on walking in a straight line like, I'm not going to try and juke. I'm just going to keep going straight. Ricochet missed, as well as the charge because he just kept walking straight.
It's the non-juke.
And then when the sun's come down, he's like, okay, this is going to hurt a little bit more than I bargained for. Guess I'll Aegis.
It's the non-juke, man.
And honestly, I mean, Obey goes into that engagement saying, yeah, if we get a Zagus, it's probably worth it.
And it was.
It ends up still being worth it, even without them being particularly accurate.
But it does lower Gold Fury pressure from Obey for a moment or two. You don't have to really worry about it. Knowing the Suns are down, that's the real secure they're going to have around the Gold Fury, at least for zoning work and actual just regular damage onto it without being around.
This is the second game in a row, and probably, if I go back and watch the VOD, perhaps the third game in a row, where Team Rival never stopped pushing these towers.
Yeah, and that's been a consistent thing they've been doing overall, and I think that's just Obey being a little bit late back towards the farm because they've been making sure that they secure their own jungle, which means that if they split in their own jungle without having too many people rotate around, it causes a problem where you're going to get free tower damage off. You're not losing the experience, you are losing some gold.
Exactly, and you know, and it's the small little pokes. We were watching Sylvanas just walk up, toss 3 autos, and then walk away. That all counts
well, the funny
up.
Thing is,
look at it.
When you look at tower damage, it also reflects gold. If there's no real kills in the game that's a lead, and there's no real objectives down like a Gold Fury pulled him, you can see where it's come from.
Well, the objective right now are the little guys. Team Rival pick up the free vision on the back end. There's going to be a little pop, and Captain Twig going to be chased out. Ice goes up. Ice left, right. Nope. Safety. Back into the middle lane.
Knew it was going to be safety. Obviously, he was looking for Captain Twig, but Twig just had too many reinforcements.
Twig had beads up. He was surrounded by teammates. Not the right target selection. Better choice by Ice Baby to just head towards safety. Wolfie dropping the ult there. You already see the interaction between that last breath, shutting down the healing, trying to get some damage reduction off of that last breath ultimate, but the heal not going to be relevant.
But look at the build coming out from Ice Baby as well. Is this going to be a Spirit's Robe next? I mean, or Magi's Blessing?
Magi's Blessing for Wolfie, yeah, trying to make sure that
Yeah.
I mean, clearly doesn't care about player damage because he's bottom of the player damage chart so far. Wolfie's job is to secure objectives, and that's about it.
I actually think it's more stay alive and bait more than anything else, I guess.
Also, Magi's Blessing is so much different than other tank items for me. I don't mind. Magi's Blessing is almost the least offensive tank item in my mind when you're building it on a carry. One, Captain Twig getting in trouble. Largely because it does something specific. You're negating CC instead of just like making yourself tankier. For me, it's an active item, if you will, and I think it fits into a carries build much better.
There isn't a lot of hard CC in Obey's composition, so Wolfie getting an extra set of beads, basically, which is what Magi's does for him, is pretty solid in this matchup because Captain Twig needs to hit him with that Cobra's Kiss, Mealsy needs to hit him with the Silence or the Dash, Ataraxia's Stun, and that's about it. I mean, it's Twig's ultimate as well.
I'm not saying it's a bad item. I just think it's a little bit overkill for the stage of the game. Going this deep into the Magi's Blessing already, when he's already got a Warlock Slash, that's defensive enough at the start of the game, in my opinion. Doubling down on this early on, it's going to limit his usefulness in the early game where Isis is supposed to be stronger.
Well, you know, and I wanted to make this comment in the last game that we saw the Isis is that you can look at it as not investing into where you're strongest at, or you can look at it as leaning on that early game strength and sort of the defensive items might put you behind if you weren't as strong in the first place.
Yeah, there's a max range Spirit Ball, so it still shows that he's doing somewhat with that Warlock Slash. But it does release some pressure on the Ryan side, which means Rival can just continue chipping away. And what they've been done in the first game and this game is just be consistent in focusing the objectives and not the ones that you normally expect. Gold Furies, the Fire Giants.
And like I said, just 2 autos, back off. 3 autos, back off. If you do that every wave, the mid lane tower is almost dead.
Oh, Twig got lost half his health to the Spirit Ball after Callus did land that hammer. Speedbuff being looked at by Deathwalker, mainly focused from him. Zalia and Ice Baby coming in looking to secure. Still pressure.
Zalia completely missed. He didn't hit anybody with the knockup.
I think he just got speed
just
buff
one?
with it, though. I believe that's what got speed. I don't know what else would have gotten it because Rival didn't end up with it.
It was Deathwalker, sorry, it was Zalia that did actually secure it with the ultimate, but he did knock up one as well. But now it's Rival knowing that's down. They're going to attempt the Portal Demon.
Exactly. If you're going to that Kukulkan knockup is so important, and you know Team Rival going to be able to back off here anyway. But wow.
Is Fafnir Hammer and Isis Spirit Ball on the same cooldown? I don't know off the top of my head, but for some reason, the way I've been seeing this played so far, every time a Hammer's come out from Callus, immediately a Spirit Ball follows it.
Nice leash here. Mealsy going to get caught out. Drops the box, and now you see Captain Twig looking for the end.
Nice
However,
dash.
making his way to the backside. He's going to be stunned out on top of the Thor wall. Spin is good. Ice Baby looking for it, but Vote gets the kill. One more shot lands it on Azalea. Ataraxia takes down the Thor.
So, 1 for 1, both junglers dead, but Deathwalker giving chase to him. Millsy, the elephant, will not forget this kill. No way he can get away from that, and now Rival relieved the pressure and can go straight to a Portal Demon.
And they've got plenty of damage to do it with Deathwalker and Vote being completely healthy. Wolfie still above half HP as well. Now, Prime and Ataraxia both healthy themselves and both have both of their relics available. So Obey do enough to keep Rival off that Portal Demon, at least for the moment.
And I think the big key there was because you've got a Giannis and a Hou Yi there. One portal into an unstable vortex and a ricochet off the wall, you're losing a huge chunk of your health. It's just not worth the risk, and potentially would reset the portal demon anyway. I kind of get the idea where I'm like, you know what? It's not worth the risk.
I like what Team Rival are doing here. Well, a little bit of pull. Nobody knows. Ataraxia's pulling the fire.
Dude, there's a freaking ward there. Yeah, there's two wards there, actually. One on the ground and then one from the Oracles, and Obey's still trying to force it.
Nice stun, pretty prime. Wow, takes a lot of damage from the mage,
Good
from the hunter. Vote rolls out, now finds damage. There's a taunt onto Vote. Now half HP in the Aegis, and I love the Spirit Ball from Wolfie. That is, if it hits good, if it doesn't, somebody's gone. But Ice Ice Baby landing on the back end.
He's just a little bit off the mark again, and we've been saying that a few times about these ultimates. I mean, the play overall, yeah, he's 1-1-3, but he's missing quite a few of these so far. Maybe Tom's right.
Yeah, I just wonder where he...
I don't want to say that. Maybe Tom's right. I hate that. That stung.
I mean, it's no...
There's no AMC.
Gold Fury being pulled now by Obey once more. Remember, Rival does have vision, but without Ice Ice Baby's ultimate, Rival has to show face in order to defend.
Nice little help from Captain Twig. Gonna miss, however. Big double tap coming out from the Thor. Ataraxia knocked up. Needs one more shot, but nobody can find it. But Vote, he followed him through the damn portal from left to right. Gets the kill, and the Hunter gets number 3.
He read him like a book as well. I was going to say that great escape from Pretty Prime to allow his Hunter out was amazing, but Vote had it tracked the whole way.
Man, what a shot from Vote. Now it's Rival getting the Gold Fury. Emilzy tried to drop the Dharmic Pillars, but still not in range in order to try and steal it away. That's just pure accuracy right there.
I actually think he was really low on time there as well. I believe that was like the hair of the last second because the Aegis came out. Remember that first of all?
Yep.
Fired the first shot, Aegis. Then he's holding for the Aegis, and Aegis takes about 2.5, 3 seconds. So what happens next? Through the portal, bang! Hits him.
And what I love about that is Portal Demon gets a rest on and taken by Team Rival, full retreat. Is don't forget, there's travel time on both. There's a minimal amount of travel time on both the ROM ultimate and the portal travel.
Yep.
So he shoots that predicting the exit of the portal, and it just lands down like he's connecting the dots. Oh man, that's the type of play that gets me out of my chair.
That's just nuts, and it sets up so much for Rival. I mean, yeah, it's sick when someone gets a crazy kill like that, but to get a crazy kill that
And it means something.
secures Gold Fury for you, that secures Portal Demon for you, secures Tier 1 Tower in middle for you, that's a really impactful play out of Vote.
And again, Tier 1 tower in mid probably goes down no matter what there, but assisted by the constant just pestering of Team Rival. This time, a little bit more than pestering. Looks like a full commit on the Tier 2.
Ice is in the sky, though, coming around the corner to catch on to Ataraxia, who was trying to rotate and love the play there. Big issue for me. This is very reminiscent of the first game Rival won here, where it's like, okay, just push down and then the game in 20 minutes. You know, it's like it's very, very reminiscent of that.
In this game, it's almost like what Rival wanted to do with their last composition, where it's Athena Taunt into Nox combo, but this time it's Fafnir Hammer into Spirit Ball, and it has been so much more effective in this game. And it's, you know, you got to give credit to Kalas being more comfortable on the Fafnir than on the Nox, and it's Wolfie on the Spirit Ball just being really comfortable and trusting in Kalas. You can't just wait until that hammer connects at a max distance if you want your Spirit Ball to follow up.
That's what it is for me, and I want to see that composition later at Worlds. I want to see them practice over the couple of months and then go ahead and bring it on the big stage. Big boy started by Team Rival. Emil's going to stick his trunk in, but Kalas going to keep it at bay.
And now the positioning so far, I mean, it is all Rivals' game to technically lose with this one. Yes, they've got a Giannis in the late game. Yes, they've got the plays from Circuit that come out, but right now, they're having a hard time getting to the back line.
Emilzy, he's going to fall down. Vote comes through with the Cassie play, and Wolfie with the last hit. There's the ultimate. It's going to heal a couple of players up. Pop, pop, no damage onto Obey Alliance, but the ultimate onto Wolfie coming out from Captain Twig, but now he's surrounded. Wing Gust, Wing Gust, Wing Gust. Jump out the back end. Zelia can't escape.
Hold, wait for the opportunity. He's going to look for targets. The Prime was a Prime one, but he didn't find the third hit. Prime is still able to come back in, but he's very low. And Deathwalker and Baby will make sure that they can't get involved again.
2 for the man with 2 ices. The Fire Giant going to go ahead and be taken by Team Rival. 4 for none. Rival looking so damn hot here.
This isn't just like two duelists going at it in a boxing ring where, you know, one round, one slugging into the other and knocking him down, and then he's getting back up next round and he's slugging the other one down. Both these teams are playing very similar to that every single time.
I can't believe this is not a sentence I thought I would say coming into Super Regionals, but to me right now, Rival looks like the best team here. So far. I mean, Obey have not looked like themselves in this match, and they didn't look like themselves very much during their set against Elevate. You know, Dignitas obviously lays an egg. E-United looked really good, and so did Luminosity, but at the same point, Rival just has dominated whenever they play their consistent compositions that they're used to.
It's kind of like Elevate in a weird way as well, because, I mean, with how Elevate are at the moment, Elevate have their composition and they run it really well. Rival come in, they have their own compositions too. One or two of them don't run really well, especially if it's very similar to the Elevate one, but they do have a style about it, and when it gets going, they really all know what their duties are on this team.
You know, I'm going to have to respectfully disagree with you, Ryan. I think that Obey look fine. I don't think that they're not playing like themselves. I just think that Rival is, we always talk about that extra gear, and Obey is usually the team that has that extra gear. Rival have shifted down, and they're in that extra gear.
We'll say we've not seen much of Prime this time.
We haven't seen much of Prime, and we haven't seen much of Twig either.
Yeah, I mean, Twig's been very backliney, if anything else, and Prime's just been more stay alive. More than anything else. We're not seeing the Prime.
What is the Giannis offer, though? I mean, we were talking it off screen. Giannis is not that god that can provide that these days.
And Prime played great on the Zeus, and, and that felt much better to me. You know, I want to see Prime on Vulcan. I want to see Prime on Zeus. I want to see, you know, there's
Vulcan into Isis, though?
There's nothing about his, you know, I don't want to disrespect his Giannis because I just want to be pretty Prime when I grow up, but it's just not, it just doesn't seem to have the same impact as his big damage gods.
Let me put something out there. Well, let's put Ice out there. Goes up top, looking for a target.
Focus is
going to be Zalia, who's looking for the flank. Right on top, spin to win. Thorns are going to be good. However, the Suns come down. Raxia, big play by Zalia. Going to separate Wolfie from the rest of the squad. Down goes the mid lane mage. Collis and trouble for Deathwalker as well. As Zalia continues to push forward. Emilzy with a strong silence. And everybody on the run.
It will be on the run, but everyone should be able to get out here as well. Ice Speed with enough escapes. They're chasing Deathwalker too, who will dance around. Even if he dies.
I like that
Even if he dies, I think it's okay for them. Fire Giant is still on 3 members of the team here. If they keep hanging around, though, to support each other, I'm going to call a different story there.
And right there, Prime just kind of makes me eat my words because he hits a big snipe onto Wolfie, and that's what sets up all of that going in Obey's favor. And that's what Obey really need. You know, Twig is not going to be doing your big damage. I mean, look at the builds that he goes for. My man's out here building Spirit's Robe, 3rd item after Mystical Mail. You need Prime to be that big burst of damage out of the mid lane.
I don't like Ice's selection there to go on to Zalia. I don't like that idea at all.
I think he was forced to prevent the flank.
No, because he wasn't forced to. Like, everybody knew where he was. If he goes into the damage dealers in the backline, the other threats, they're playing defensive, not offensive at that point, having to deal with a Thor in their face. You go in a frontline tank, damage dealers are being left alone at that point.
What I want to see, what I think I would have liked to see is land with the ultimate on Zalia.
And then jump away.
And then jump away and harass the backline. Because you stop Zalia, you even put out the wall maybe, and then the flank is separated.
Yeah, but you can't jump into a backline of the store because then your escape is down. Right.
Hi, guys. I've got a wall. That's it.
That's the whole point of landing on the backline to then jump out afterwards. I don't disagree with you, Hindu, but because of where Ice Baby ulted from, everyone on Obey knew that he was up in the air and he was coming down. So everyone from Obey retreats, just kind of makes a turtle formation and makes sure that he's going to land into a bad situation in the back line, and then that's what forces Ice Baby onto a less than ideal target.
Just didn't work out for him, and that's just giving Obey a small window. It's not a game-changing window, but that was a good Phoenix defense. And the main thing is all 3 Phoenixes stand through the first Fire Giant rotation.
Nice defensive stop coming out from Obey Alliance, but we're almost a half hour into this one, and Team Rival still significantly in the driver's seat, just shy of 10,000 gold here, up 6 kills, 10-4. And Team Rival, well, it's a tie series, but this game looks like it belongs to the purple.
And Pretty Prime's going to need to keep doing that if Obey wants to defend again. Wolfie has been the catalyst for Rival thus far, and him getting put down to 40% HP off of one Giannis snipe is a really good way to turn the team fight.
And talking about the Giannis, I mean, we saw on Wolfie earlier on, he didn't go for this sort of build. I mean, Doom Orb into Runner Tahuti. We saw Wolfie go for the Chrono Spinner, which is a great item, but it doesn't provide the power you really need at this stage of the game.
One of my favorite mage builds. I think it's just bringing a lot of what you want out of your mage. But what I was going to say is Pretty Prime kind of playing in this series, perhaps this weekend, but specifically this series, playing the role that Lobster plays on his team, where he's a facilitator, frequently finds himself dying so that his other teammates can really take care of business. Not always on the highlight reel, but always a guy that you think of as really helping out the squad.
Right, but Obey is full of facilitators.
Which again, so my point being, Pretty Prime is playing like Lobster when perhaps he should be playing like Pretty Prime.
Yeah, exactly. And Obey became the best team in the world by having him be Pretty Prime.
Raijin, Zeus, etc.
Thoth, the Vulcan. I mean, he can play a lot.
Thoth?
Thoth. What did you? You're gonna call out my pronunciation when you just said Zeus?
I'm Zeus. Twig.
Zeus. I'm mad that you said that because I was gonna save it for when he dies to an Ice Ice Baby double tap, and I was gonna say Captain Twig.
Oh, that would have been good.
That'd have been pretty good.
Yeah, but you just ruined it.
I mean, if he just did it at the right time, it would have sounded good too. But now he spoiled himself by saying that.
I mean, I'm still going to say it.
Actually, yeah, I think this is actually on.
And now you say it, and it's just wasted.
No, I'm still going to do it.
No, now you're going to look like an idiot.
No, I'm going to look really swag.
Yeah, but,
wait,
I guess there is this that more people will appreciate it.
I didn't mean idiot, just in case Twitter's listening. I meant silly.
Facebook's listening, by the way, on the phones.
Like and retweet. I mean, like and what is it? Like and what?
Share.
Share. Oh,
right now, Team Rival.
I don't like sharing.
Looking to share their lead with only themselves here. Deathwalker one more time leading the charge, left side. Meanwhile, I think I hear Thor going for it. Nice stun on the right side. Well, there's damage onto Azalea. Spin to win. Preemptive. I don't like that ultimate out of Wolfie, and I think Team Rival are going to regret it.
I do. It tops up Vote and gives him the protection to absorb the damage a little bit more. No, he's fine. No, Vote wasn't. Vote is now as the engagement goes on again.
And Emil's going to take some damage, drop down the pillar. Zelia leading the charge once more. Wolfie half HP. Kalis the only one that gets hit by the snipe. Deathwalker, what are you doing? You're way too far up there. Zelia going to bring down the boom.
And the portal is still up as well for them to jump through. Emil's going to rack round the back, and the hammer from Kalis missing. Emil's looking for a prime target, but he doesn't know which one. Ice will get to the sky in time. The rest of Rivals still have to keep running.
And landing. Where's he going to land? Where's he going to land? Safely.
Needs a wall.
Oh, drop the wall. Nice wall. There's a gazinkle tap, but not going to be enough.
Gazinkle tap?
Gazinkle. It's the number after 17 million thousand.
We're both looking at Ryan, and Ryan's like, I've got nothing.
I just don't understand how you came up with that math.
I mean,
17 million thousand.
Just so you know, it was 3.
Yeah, he hit like 4 people with it.
He hit 3 and the other one was cut off. That's what happened. But it was a fantastic wall, and that's actually, again, Obey. This is turning. Do you remember I know there's a few Dictas fans and players in the audience right now, but do you remember that 3 Phoenixes down and 5 Fire Giants?
Not even close.
It's starting to feel that way.
Not even close.
Are you sure?
Well, the difference being that Dignitas at least got some Phoenixes.
Well, with Obey getting the Gold Fury, actually, this is the beginning of a comeback. Because Rival, despite Obey was putting on fantastic defensive performances, but Team Rival was maintaining their 10K gold lead despite it. Now, with the take of the Gold Fury, I'm a little bit less secure in the fact that Team Rival was just going to truck it.
The Phoenix is staying alive is so huge for Obey, though, because he just keeps putting this defensive position of like, okay, we lose a team fight, we lose the Fire Giant, no problem, we still got the Phoenix, we defend again.
Because when you take care of the Phoenix, the Fire Minions come, and then you've got homework to do.
You just have to deal with so many different things. You've got a lot to juggle on your plate with the players pushing down to one side, the Fire Minions on the other. You can't chase too deep if you start to win a team fight. Without your Phoenixes being down, Obey has the option to try and make a better counter push if they are to continue to defend well. The other thing, though, is that there are a lot of towers that Obey is starting to bring down. Like, they are still 2 or 3, at least wipes away from being able to end the game.
But I tell you what, if the next Fire Giant goes down and Obey do manage to potentially wipe 3 or 4 members of Rival on that sort of aggression again, there will be a Phoenix lost, for sure. The respawn timers just take too long.
And don't forget, I mean, sure, there's a bunch of towers, but you're able to take one tower down, a Phoenix, a good team fight, and Pretty Prime just going to subway his way right in there.
Don't drop ship. Imagine if they lose to a drop ship this game. I'm getting way ahead of excitement of like, that is a potential thing that could happen.
We are
here.
so far away from that being. I offered it as like a,
I just got
now. If it happens, it's gonna be like everyone's gonna be saying scripted and rigged and all this stuff, and that's just gonna be no fun.
Have you not read yours yet?
No, I didn't get it.
Okay, you were supposed to be in it by now. That's why.
Well, basically, what happens at the end of this series. Exactly. So.
That works out well. Fire Giant start up again. Space and time, maybe. No?
No reason to waste it here.
Okay, here, my question, I always ask the question, and the answer is always, well, they're going to defend their Phoenixes. Why didn't Obey look for that?
Because every single fight they've taken against Rival in the jungle, they've lost as the time's gone on. So why not set up a defensive plan?
Down, that's a fight you can take.
I mean, look at the state of the game. They've not won any of these fights away from the Phoenixes.
Right, why take a 60-40 fight in their favor when it's been 50-50 underneath your Phoenix?
Why make your bet if it's just going to get messy again at night? I say go for it.
Well, first of all, that's why I don't make my bed, because it is going to get messy every night. And secondly, I mean, it's just easier this way to defend. Plus, Obey has so little to gain by winning a team fight there compared to winning their team fight here.
And if you can't keep landing the abilities, like missing the hammer there and then the pin, I mean, Emilzy took a lot more after that, which is great. Emilzy being forced out here is actually pretty big.
And Zaylia coming around from the flank again. Suns are dropped. Ice Baby going to go to the sky, looking for a target. And it's got to be Zaylia, and it will be Zaylia. Pretty Prime coming through with the ultimate. But however, Kalas going to go into the dragon form. Vote gets a nice little heal thanks to Wolfie, and we'll try again.
But Vote used both his relics there on defense, whereas so did Pretty Prime on offense as well. Now he's going to try and heal up in the jungle using the Devourer's Gauntlets for a bit more sustain. Now they can go again.
And again, here comes a Spirit Ball. Ring dropped by Emilzy. Trouble as players are stuck inside. Kalas in the tower as he should be, but getting relatively low. Yep. And again, half HP on the Phoenix. This is the most damage they've been able to do to an objective just yet.
But that's the first time Vote's got in range now to start whacking away in it. I know they have been forced out, so Phoenix will fall down. Emilzy committed on, but will escape to the right-hand side. Kalas frozen in place in that dragon form, allowed Ataraxia to beat him down a little bit more. This will slow Rival down from going straight to a second Phoenix for a moment's notice. It may force them all the way back.
But you know what? This is progress. This is better than they did on the left side. This is better than they did in the mid lane, and nothing really's changed. So, I mean, this is just a good look for Team Rival.
You know what's funny is that, honestly, I wouldn't be too surprised if the reason that Rival goes right there is because they just haven't had success left.
He's looking left. That's why he's trying to stop them from back. He's actually got Prime on his own. Remember, no relics for Prime. Won't get to the portal in time. Ataraxia wants to potentially engage on Ice Ice, but now reinforcements are here, and they've got to run from Deathwalker.
Oh, Wolfie just barely missed that Spirit Ball. If Wolfie hits that Spirit Ball, it might be game. 2 players stunned, 3 players dead. That's a push from Rival.
I guess.
Maybe, but either way, that's a great individual play from Ice Baby, recognizing that Pretty Prime speeds were down, and now this opens the door for another Phoenix push.
Mid lane, Phoenix going to be the target, already down to half HP. Trouble as Ice Baby gets very low. Vote's dead. Captain Twig gets credit, and now it's a 4-on-4.
And now Obey can hold this tier 2.
Yep.
It's like this middle Phoenix, because you need Vote MBK with you every single time to defend these, to attack these Phoenixes and siege them down.
Yeah,
no way of getting away.
Nice stuff coming out from Obey Alliance. Again, just stopping the Phoenix one more time. Ice probably looking more for the Oracles than anything else. DW going to show up and help out with the goals here.
Well, there's a bit of a power play right now for Obey. They're going to realize it soon, because Vote's dead for another 30+ seconds. Pretty Prime has respawned. We'll see what they choose to do here. They could probably go into their jungle a little bit deeper, put a couple of wards down to get some idea about where Rival's going to go. They can't do much more than that, because there's not much more they can.
And Fire Giant's not up for another 90 seconds still, so not a lot. And Portal Demon's up, and maybe Obey want to try and be the aggressors there, but Portal Demon's still going to spawn in 5 seconds or so. Vote will be up in the next 5, and then it's not going to take them long to get there. So Obey Alliance likely going to just keep that right side minion wave pushed up, make sure their Titan isn't under any threat from those fire minions, and just allow Rival to do what they've done three times so far this game, which is grab a Fire Giant.
This feels like a rank game right now, where you're like, guys, we can't do anything. Guys, will you press F6? And they're like, no, we can still win this game. No, we can still win this game. And then you're like, all right, I'm not going to F6 even now, because I actually do have a feeling that we might be able to do it if we can just keep wiping them out of Phoenix. Then maybe we can win.
Maybe. I am not writing Obey Alliance off by any stretch of the imagination. I think they're still in this one simply because of the talent that they have and what they've shown as far as their defensive prowess. Team Rival still up by about 10,000 gold, more of an illustrative feature. Obey have not yet reached a full build, so perhaps more relevant than I'm letting on. But 11-6, 38 minutes in.
Ethereal staff for Giannis.
Just getting that extra bit of health to make sure that if he gets caught without relics again, that he won't fall. Plus, that passive is still pretty helpful. I mean, doing an extra 5% of a god's max health. Now, that is mitigated by protection, so penetration very important, and that's why you see Prime going for what's likely going to be a Spear of Desolation in that last item slot. Gives him a little bit of CDR and that power and pen that he needs to make that ethereal staff that much more valuable.
But no Chronos Pendant. That's the only thing I'm looking at that. I'm like, no more cooldowns. Well, but I guess when you play
this stage,
one rotation and you don't do it, I guess, you know, it doesn't really matter, right?
Exactly. You need your through space time to hit, and you needed to hit it real damn hard at this point. I mean, getting 2 off faster isn't as relevant.
So why not Soul Reaver then?
Soul Reaver actually, I think, could have been relevant here, but I think he's a little bit worried about the CC. There's crowd control reduction on that ethereal staff as well, and with how much CC Rival has, that could be the difference between living and dying.
Wolfie and Ice Ice Baby coming through with the Magi's bubbles. So CC certainly on the mind of Team Rival. 39.5. Team Rival look for what is another siege. Emilzy taking down to 75%. Twig brought down to almost 0. Vote not going in the sky just yet.
No, he couldn't get up in time because of the knock-up that came out from Azalea actually stopped him from being able to do that. And he didn't want to use a relic to do that, so Twig will be back. And Twig still has his ultimate, remember that.
Ataraxia and Emilzy brought down pretty low. Deathwalker again going to be a little bit too far up front. Emilzy drops the ring. Will be enough to kill Deathwalker combined with Captain Twig. Ice Ice looking for a target. Lands on nobody. Instead, looking for the defensive move of a wall. Not going to find it. It's on Raxia. One tap is good enough. Phoenix still stands.
And it will stand again. You saw Vote was prioritizing damage over the Phoenix. Calyx was trying to tank it up for him. But when one of your tanks is dead, it makes it very difficult for the other one to just stand there the entire time and create the same zone to get your Hunter in.
Rival just had a little bit too split of a focus. You're totally right. Vote looking for damage instead of the Phoenix. Now when it's at a 5v5, you can look for that damage because maybe if you get a pick, you not only get that Phoenix, but the other one, maybe you can end the game. That makes sense. But as soon as Deathwalker dies on that resurgence by Rival, that has got to be Phoenix and out. Try and get something for losing your soul later and get back, heal up, and wait to regroup with him. Vote just on a different page than the rest of Rival.
And something that I've noticed about Deathwalker here, not just in that last sequence, not just the sequence before, also dead, and the sequence before that, also dead. The problem is Deathwalker way too far up front. There's something to be said about zoning, but he's on a different planet.
Well, the thing is, he's going to go a little bit deeper knowing he's got an Isis with him. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt there because even if he can keep it at max range, Isis can still interrupt, and that max range Spirit Ball will delete a carry if that situation arises.
Sure, but Isis has routinely used the ultimate on the back end, looking more for the heal than the damage reduction and the offensive push, which I think might be the change. Agree with me or disagree. I want to see Wolfie put the ultimate on top of the Phoenix and just let Vote siege.
Well, that's been the idea, but he's needed to pop it early because of how low Deathwalker has gotten. I'm more of the train of thought that Deathwalker has gone a little bit too far forward, but Vote has to do a better job of focusing the objective.
Yes. We are spoiled by Double Hunter. Vote, your only job is to deal with the Phoenix right now. Let everybody else deal with everybody else. Captain Twig getting hit by the Spirit Ball. And Kalas this time is the target of Ataraxia's ire. The Hunter with 3 kills.
Twig goes in with a big ultimate and will get away from my size. Round the back comes Zalia. Anti-healing onto Vote as well. Circle of protection. They're all going to stand in it. Zalia needs to get out, but he blew up so heavily.
1 shot on Captain. 2 shots on Captain. And the 3rd will be good from all the way downtown.
That could be the game.
Vote finds a dozen.
That could be the game. Vote MBK may have just won them the game by taking out Captain Twig. And Millsy will get through a portal that was designed for Prime. That's game 3. That's Rival taking this one. It took him a long time, though, to break the base.
There aren't a lot of discussions revolving around Vote being a big play Hunter at LAN, but that talk needs to start.